First thing is the minutes of the January 16th meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion? None, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, the supervisor's monthly report, revenues for the month of January were $211.50. Appropriations were $66,623.36. General fund checkbook balance is $5,660.29. Highway checkbook balance is $156,025.05. T&A account is $14,908.27. Payroll account $16,531. And one district number $1,522.36. And I have my accounting sheets from the month of January. Okay. Now we'll come to public comment. Is there anyone that wants to address the board on any issue other than natural gas? Paul?
I don't know where to stand so I can see everybody there. I know some of you folks. I'm Paul Brennan. I live and resident in the town. I've been here about 35 years. I've become involved with the Oxford Visionaries Research Committee, hoping to bring this gas drill, no drill situation to a satisfactory conclusion for everybody. Being involved in a research committee has brought to light a lot of questions in my mind. And so I'd like to read this comment. I think you all have a copy of it. It's directed to Lawrence, but it goes to everybody. Follow along if you can. As you know, two local events have captured the attention of many observers outside Oxford. The first was the Village of Oxford's recent zoning amendment prohibiting hydraulic fracturing.
Go ahead.
Okay. As a teacher, you know that usually when a student's not paying attention.
I'm listening and I have it printed here. I can read.
All right, okay. Sometimes the accentuation on the words kind of draws the attention to what is more important in the context of the whole document. The second was the Shenango County Planning Board's denial of the village zoning amendment of clarification. Last Monday, the New York City Gotham Gazette wrote a long article on these events. The author interviewed you both in your county and town capacities, this is referring to Lawrence. Our research committee is planning a series of articles on Oxford's government for the local online and print media and would appreciate your cooperation. For the first installment, we are eager to interview you and other members of the Oxford Town Board about the town's current revision of its zoning laws and approach to the 1970 Oxford Comprehensive Plan in the aftermath of the Village and Shenango County Planning Board actions. As you know, the Shenango County Planning Board initially denied the village's amendment under the 239M procedure and was then overruled by village 4-to-1 supermajority. Our initial 6 questions focus on the second of 4 reasons the Shenango County Planning Board gave for its denial. In summary, this reason was, in New York, the Zoning Enabling Acts continue to require that zoning be undertaken in accordance with a well-considered plan or in accordance with a comprehensive plan. According to our records, the Village of Oxford Comprehensive Plan has not been updated since February of 1970. The document is entitled the Summary Master Plan, Town and Village of Oxford, New York. Again, Town and Village. It is recommended that the Village of Oxford update its comprehensive plan prior to adopting amendments to the Village of Oxford zoning law in order to assure both documents are in conformance with each other. Here are 6 questions we asked you to address at the next town board meeting and in an interview scheduled at your convenience. Last year, the town board tasked the town planning board with revising the town zoning laws. As supervisor, will you recommend that the town board follow or reject the Shenango County Planning Board's recommendations to update the 1970 Town and Village of Oxford Master Plan in the rezoning process? And will you task the planning board with that additional assignment? Number 2, as the title makes clear, the 1970 Town and Village of Oxford Master Plan jointly covered both town and village. As town supervisor, how will you recommend the town and village planning boards work together on this project? Number 3, last year the town allocated $5,000. I believe that was for Jerry to go to Syracuse to learn something?
No.
No?
That wasn't.
All right, sorry, but
That's beyond,
who went?
well, I went to Syracuse originally to meet with Terry, to meet with, the people that ended up with developing the vision plan, but we authorized $5,000, the village authorized $5,000 to fund the vision plan that was completed. That's what the $5,000.
I misunderstood. Okay, thank you for correcting me. All right, let's start again. Last year, the town allocated $5,000 to the College of Environmental Science and Forestry at the State University of New York in Syracuse to produce the Vision Planning Project Report as a first step in updating the 1970 Town and Village of Oxford Master Plan. The final report was presented to the town board at its last meeting. How are you going to use this report in upgrading the comprehensive plan and zoning laws? Number 4, and this one puzzles me. The village just amended its zoning law to prohibit gas drilling. The Shenango County Planning Board rejected the amendment under the 239M procedure. The town modified its zoning laws in 2007 to permit gas drilling. What was the Shenango County Planning Board's 239M ruling on the town's changes? Please provide us with the 239M procedure exchange between the county and the town so we can compare the experiences of the village and the town. Earlier this month, New York State Sullivan's County returned a draft comprehensive plan to the town of Calicoon because the draft's pro-fracking language, again, pro-fracking language, was at odds with the expressed views of the residents. In the Gotham Gazette article, you were quoted, this is referring to Lawrence, the positive things that safe gas exploration could bring to upstate New York are phenomenal. He also said he was still awaiting the results of the state review. I don't want to have it unless it can be done safely. That's the feeling of most of the community. They don't want to see the land ruined. Through both letters and petitions, more than 1,000 Oxford residents, village and town, have opposed gas drilling. As chair of the Shenango County Board of Supervisors and Town of Oxford Supervisor, how will you ensure that public opinion, pro and con gas drilling, is taken into consideration by both county and town government in Oxford's current work on zoning and planning revision? And finally, number 6, given the complexity of the town planning board's task, the amount of time required, and the possibility that the Department of Environmental Conservation could issue drilling permits shortly, we remind you of the 5 permit process questions we submitted to you on October 19th. We asked you to address these questions at the next we ask you to address these questions at the next town board meeting or during our press interview. And those questions are down below. I'd like to ask that this document be included into the minutes of the meeting, Jim? Or no, I guess Lawrence I asked, I don't know who's the boss here. All right. I appreciate your time and listening to me. Thank you.
Anyone else that wants to speak? Mr. Allred.
Sure. Thanks, I'm gonna be as brief as I can here. What I like to do each month, if I could, is update the town on some of the things that have taken place in the area involved with natural gas. But first I want to find out, I haven't been to your meeting in a long time, I'd like to understand a few of your rules. When you open up, do you have like 30 minutes? You open up to the public and in 5 minutes apiece? A lot of towns do that.
Our standard procedure has been 5 minutes per speaker.
Mhm.
In the early onset of this discussion, we tried to limit it to 30 minutes. The last couple of months, we haven't said that, but the discussion has taken, about 15 to 20 minutes, and we haven't had to worry about that. But we don't need to have it dominate the whole evening.
Correct.
So it's up to the board to decide, I guess, that if they do want to put a time limit on it. But we didn't at the start of the
I think 30 minutes
I think it should be ample.
is adequate.
All right, and then if you did that if you vote on that, cast it out, you work that, if it was 30 minutes, would those people get 3 to 5 minutes apiece to speak? Because sometimes you get, I've seen this, I've been to over 40-some village and town board meetings, and it's handled different ways. I can tell you that Jerry Kreiner over in Plymouth, at first was a circus there. Now, it's pretty well run, because they run 30 minutes, exactly what they're doing. And then they have 5 minutes per person. This way, it gives people time to speak. They allow the taxpayers first, and then out-of-town folks second. Just some suggestions that help keep order.
We just, if I may interject,
Sure.
We've been very fortunate that the groups that have addressed us have been observant of our requests and haven't tried to dominate our function, and I certainly appreciate that.
Good. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I want to thank the board here, number one, for its due diligence and its risk management that it's done for our village for a very long time, our town for a very long time. Given what we're up against at this time, where New York State has not made a decision yet, they're still working on the requirements. And we heard that yesterday, they're still now holding off for the remainder of the health review. So it's hard to make any type of decision not knowing what it is that you're gonna be facing. Home rule is something that's been passed on to you and said that you can pretty much make zoning and a lot of choices that you want. However, when it comes to natural gas, there's a fine line there. And that fine line comes in and is being challenged right now. It was Middlefield was a case and Dryden was a case. Those two cases have been joined together, and that's challenging home rule. So again, we've got to wait for the outcome of those cases to understand what it is that villages and towns can do. And with New York State, once they pass their regulations, once the Dryden Middlefield was supposed to be sometime in March and possibly could go longer, at that time when those things are resolved, then I think villages and town can go forward in making some good, sound decisions. Because right now, there's a lot of guesswork. You're taking shots in the dark, and you're wasting valuable time that could be better spent working on some other projects. So just wanted to bring that up front here. Again, I appreciate the work everybody does here, but also understand it's hard to make a decision at this time when there's so many unknowns. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Mina?
At the last meeting, you had passed a road use agreement, and I know I've been talking about road use law, and I've located one that, that Nymer has been recommending and I didn't have enough ink, so I only have 2 copies. But this is considered gold standard, so I just wanted to make sure that you had that. I don't know if you want to pass it on to your town planning board and have them review it. I have a couple of others that are, New Berlin has one, McDonough has one. McDonough is right now currently, they want to upgrade their road preservation law, and they are looking at this. So I just want to make sure you have that.
Okay.
This is something I wanted you all to know about. This is a forum that a group of us in Oxford are organizing. It's a countywide informational forum for landowners regarding gas leasing issues. Particularly, we're looking at notifying landowners what they can do if they would like to sever their lease, especially if it's after a primary term. I think a lot of folks feel that if the primary term is over, that the gas lease just expires on its own terms, but this is not true. You have to go through the Obligations Law, Section 15304 process to serve notification to the gas companies and/or assignees. And there are a lot of issues because there have been a lot of assignments over the years. There have been some partial royalty, 4.3% assignments. So to notify all these different parties is a process. And these folks at fleece.org are coming to give this presentation, and it's free and open to the public. And I wanted you all to know about it. And if you thought that there were, particular issues that you'd like for them to cover in their presentation, they're open to catering their presentation to Shenango County issues. So I welcome, any input on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Jim.
Is there a reason these are all put together?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, it's just that, all right. I didn't want to separate them.
No.
Lawrence, you have road use on the agenda, right? I asked Jim to put road use on the agenda.
Yeah.
Well, and he told me that, and I didn't write it down.
Okay, well, when you're ready,
I guess that you better address us with what you want about it, because as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing. We adopted a template to use at this point, last month.
so it's now open for road use.
I have something I'd like to speak about that. There's a copy. And this also concerns, yes, the town road use agreement. We address you on behalf of 1,000 Oxford residents who have expressed their concerns about the issues raised by the road use agreement that your town board passed at the last meeting. We urge the board to reconsider this agreement at their next March meeting. We ask that this discussion include the entire Oxford community in dialogue with the town planning board and the 2 Oxford village boards. This collaboration was the clear intent of the Shenango County Planning Board in yesterday's letter of clarification to Mayor Terry Stark, that we hereby submit with this letter as part of the minutes of this meeting. And here are just a few questions that require some answers. Number 1, given the position of the Shenango County Planning Board, what was your logic in considering a road use agreement explicitly based on full-scale gas drilling industrialization before revising the town zoning laws and town and village comprehensive plan? 2, why was this agreement, A, not on the agenda, B, not announced in advance to the public, C, not subject to public comment or hearing, D, not preceded by any economic, safety, health, or environmental study, and, and E, passed quickly with no substantive discussion? 3, why was the agreement referred to the town planning board but passed without the planning board's notification, much less recommendation? 4, why was the town attorney's legal opinion not sought on an amendment that raises profound legal questions? could cost the town astronomical sums of money, will require extensive legal work, and absolves the elected town board members of their legal obligations and grants wide non-administrative, administrative authority, political power, and legal responsibilities to one man, the unelected highway superintendent. Number 5, why were the many serious financial issues raised by many citizens before this board during the November 1st budget hearings totally ignored? And I have a copy of a letter that I dated to you on November 1st, 2012, with my concerns about the road use laws. I never got an answer. Why was not one penny allocated to the huge legal, monitoring, enforcement, emergency, medical, and administrative expenses that this board assumed for our town when you passed this agreement? 6, how could any individual board member have exercised due diligence and fully considered the consequences of a vote held under these unusual circumstances? Tonight we are providing each board member with the first of several tools to prepare for an informed re-examination of the somewhat ill-considered road use agreement. The map of the town of Oxford shows the local roads and the properties leased and non-leased for gas drilling according to the most reliable information that we have. Superimposed on the map are rectangles that suggest the likely 640-acre mile-square spacing units for hydraulic fracturing well pads, when permits are issued by the DEC. This will enable each of you to imagine the fate of your property under intensive industrial exploitation by financially troubled Norse Energy, Chesapeake Energy, or other transnational, foreign, or domestic corporations that obtains their assets in bankruptcy liquidation. These maps will help you intelligently judge the effects of your current road use agreement on the roads that your family, your neighbors, and those who serve you now depend on every day. So between now and the March meeting, we will supply each of you with additional information through the town clerk's office, including applicable DEC draft regulations, photographs and reports of road use experiences in other communities where gas drilling is taking place. Also, this came out new today from what I understand. It's a clarification to reason 2. It's from the Chenango County Planning and Development Board. It says, although the Village of Oxford has passed the zoning amendments, the Town of Oxford may or may not share the same views on limiting exploration and or extraction of natural gas within their community. We recommended updating the master plan to expressly show the stance of the Village of Oxford so that the master plan is in accordance with the zoning amendments. We feel this would make the master plan and the Village of Oxford zoning ordinance to be in accordance with each other more succinctly and also prevent any intercommunity disagreements which may occur. And I thank you for your time and for listening.
Anyone else?
Just take a second, won't take a whole lot of your time here. Just something I want you all to know that do appreciate the stance that you are all taking. You're getting stuff thrown at you here that really could tend to be just a simple waste of your time. And part of the reason that there's only a few of us here that are proponents of actual gas development in the town. And the city, or the village and the town are totally separated from each other. Not totally, but for all logical purposes, they're separated. And you all know that, so I'm not gonna sit here and hammer on that. Don't want you to all get discouraged by this information, whether it's factual or whether it's fiction, and some of it is both. Don't want you to get discouraged with being thrown at you and think that it'd be easier just to like go ahead and go along with all the anti-sentiment that's being presented in this room. And when I say all, it's mostly in this room. It's not the general opinion out there. You can pick whatever numbers you all want to. And it has to be hard from your position to sit there and listen to the same thing over and over and over and be pounded by people that basically haven't been here as long or truly don't have the interest and the hard work into the land that they already have, and it's their right to develop. So don't give up, take it for what it's worth from what you're hearing, and we're here to support you on the side of gas development and letting things go until you actually can spend your time reasonably instead of just going through motions that may very well be just kicked out in the end. Thank you.
Anyone else?